Good evening and welcome to A Road to the Pit, a high school basketball journey. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Welcome to the show this evening, the live show. Join me, as he always does, is my son, Nick Nunez, a former assistant coach at St. Pius and a broadcaster and producer with ProView Networks. And Coach Nunez, welcome with that hair, man. I mean, son, we got to get that haircut, bro. I don't know how many times I got to tell you, but son, it's good to have you back on the show. I know we took about a 2-month hiatus, and our last guest was Greg Brown after he won his third championship with Volcano Vista. So welcome to the show. You're muted, son. Nick, you're muted. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but he's muted. So let me introduce our next guest, or our guest tonight. Coach, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fantastically.
Our guest tonight is the head coach and founder of ABC Prep basketball, Coach Brandon Mason. Coach Mason played Division I college basketball at New Mexico State University and was part of the 1,000-point scoring club at New Mexico State. He was also named the team's defensive player of the year twice. And, you know, Coach, you also coached at New Mexico State and coached at UNM. You're the only guy I know besides Jimmy Taylor who played at New Mexico State and then played at New Mexico. Walk that fine, it's a fine line to walk between Aggies and Lobos. Coach, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me. You know, one thing I don't want to leave out is that I coached at New Mexico Highlands as well. So one thing I love being a part is like all the communities in New Mexico, all the way up to Las Vegas, New Mexico.
You know, it's funny because, I'm the voice out at Western New Mexico, and I know you do a lot of work with you did work with Coach Bunker, trying to help him. And, I'm there a lot, man. And Coach Pace, the girls, the women's coach out there who actually played at Syracuse with Carmelo Anthony and was part of the national championship team out there in 2003 and played overseas. A great guy. I hurt when he loses, man, because I know how much he wants to win. And a great coach and a great guy. So till my son gets back on, he's got some questions that are definitely assigned to him. But, we know you're in the middle of your ABC Spotlight summer season. We've been traveling. We want to ask you about how's the summer season going? It's just progressing. It's getting started. It's always exciting. I talked to you the other day, and you told me, you tried to step away for a little while, and we talked about, hey, it's basketball. You've been around the game a long time, and it's work. It's work, and you develop a lot of players, but your love of the game, and when you're around it, it's like, man, it's right. So how's the summer season shaping up, Coach?
So far, so good. One thing I do love is to fly around to all these different states. We go to Dallas, we go to Denver, we go to Phoenix, we go to California, Kansas City, Chicago. We go to all these different places, and the first thing they ask is, they want to know, do they really play basketball in New Mexico? And I think it's a joke because our kids are good enough, and they just need a platform to show how good they really are. And it's not just ABC, but there's other AAU programs like ourselves that are putting kids on, I would like to say, a display to show how good they really are and to show that we do play basketball here and that there's talent here, there's size here, there's good guards here that can play at every level of college basketball. So I just love to be a part of it. I love to be selfish just because I have 3 boys that are a part of this community, and I'm all about it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a fantastic thing to be a part of, and it's a growing thing that New Mexico is a basketball state, not just because of the pit, but also our grassroots are deeply rooted into basketball as well.
Well, it's always been a basketball state, and I think you see that at the state tournament. You're there at a lot of games, watching a lot of games throughout the year. Besides being on the road with ABC Prep and New Mexico, as we know, is crazy about their basketball. They always have been. The state tournament is one of the most highly attended tournaments in the land, and it's so exciting to get back. To get, that's why we call the show Road to the Pit. And we saw several champions crowned, and that building still, it's an older place, Mace. And Hunter Green said this to me years ago that maybe they should have, when they did the reconstruction, maybe they should have just built a new one. You know, they put 60 million into it, but it's still got that magic, the pit, right? Everyone wants to run down that ramp and, you know, and see it, right? See, man, you get up there and then it's an overwhelming moment, and a moment a lot of kids work for. And, you know, so, but we wanted to ask you about a couple of players that recently made some commitments to ABC Prep for the upcoming season. Latavius Morris, a rising senior to Trisco Heritage, averaged 25 points per game, a 4.6 assists. He announced his commitment to ABC Prep. That kid is, you know, heck of a player. Bella Hines, a standout first-team All-State shooting guard and LSU Tigers signee, who this season became the all-time leading girls basketball scorer in Albuquerque Public Schools history, committed to play for ABC Prep's women's team, which will have its inaugural season next season. These are significant commitments for your ABC Prep program. Both Bella and Latavius have played for your ABC programs in the summer. Talk about what these players will bring in the prep season in the fall, winter, and spring for ABC Prep next season. They're you know, saw the news, and it's big news for both players. My son's back on, so that's good. Nick, can you hear us?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. So, Coach,
there he is.
Yes, Coach.
Coach.
You know what? Maybe you can talk to him about the hair, man. I mean, I've got anyway, Coach. If you can talk to us about Latavius and your coach and Bella, the commitments that they made to ABC Prep. What does that mean for the program?
Well, can we talk about this hair first? Or I'm joking.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
No. I'm joking. So one thing that I want to say is that I don't like to lose focus on what the kids are trying to accomplish because of a name or an ABC Prep, or it's not about the name of an organization. It's not about anything that has to do with an organization. These kids are looking for an opportunity to have a different, I would say, like a Division I day of strength and conditioning, of travel, of the way that Division I college basketball is going to look like before they get there. I mean, Bella Hines is already incredibly good at basketball. We can all agree on that. Latavius Morris has already averaged 25 points a game. We're not going to do anything for these kids that's going to make them average 35 or 45. You understand what I'm saying? So they're coming here for a different outlook on of what college basketball is going to look like. And it's the same thing that, you know, kids go to Bosque, they go to Hope Christian, they go to Manal, they go to all these different schools because they want higher education, because one day they might want to go to Stanford. They might want to go to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, what we're offering is just a different outlook on achieving a basketball scholarship and what that day is going to look like. So all we're trying to do is prepare them for that day. We don't promise kids any scholarships. We don't promise them anything extra. But one thing that we do have in our bag is that I did coach at a high level, and all we can do is share that knowledge and show them what it's going to look like at the next level, and offer them games and opportunity and preparation of what that's going to look like. It's not a knock on any other high school program. It's not saying that we're better than them. It's not saying that if you come to ABC Prep, guess what? You're going to be 10 times better because we care more, or no, nothing like that. All it is that we're showing and delivering something different than a normal high school public school can offer a kid. And that's when it comes to basketball. You understand what I'm saying? So it's equivalent to what St. Pius and all these other schools are doing academically. We're just doing it basketball wise.
You know, I think one of the things that Kevin Banks, who's a good friend of yours, a good friend of mine, my son knows him pretty well too. He said this to me more than once: is you know, it's getting exposure to, like you mentioned, Latavius. I had him a couple of times last year. I think Nick had him a couple of times. We broadcast his games. Unbelievable talent. I had Bella Hines a couple of times. I think my son did as well. And those are two outstanding talents that you mentioned. Bella's already signed. We mentioned with LSU. And I think exposure to Division I players, she's got to get ready for. She did an outstanding job in getting El Dorado to the pit. She got, you know, the El Dorado. Yeah, and you know, she had some good teammates. She's always quick to credit her team. Yeah, it takes a team to get there. And you know,
100%.
Averaged 32 points a game and had an outstanding season. A couple more things about Latavius Morrison. I'll get my son involved here. Latavius has already had stacked a couple of offers. According to his Twitter, Tarleton State, New Mexico Highlands are just a couple.
I'm sorry.
There's a comment there. Yeah.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'll read these messages.
Okay, and we'll get back to that in a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Latavius
we should read.
Somebody likes your hair, son. I think the hair, Jimmy H. I think the hair looks cool as hell, and I appreciate that, Jimmy. I'm his dad. I'm a short hair kind of guy, and my son, I can't grow it out like that. So let's thank you, Jimmy, for that comment. And Mace, you're getting a kick out of that. I mean, this is my son, and he's on his own now. I can't, I can only suggest with that hair. So anyway, back to Latavius. Looking at his Twitter account, he's getting a lot of exposure this summer playing with ABC Spotlight. He's a small guard. We mentioned he's hard to guard. Nobody can keep that kid in front of him. Also played quarterback for Atrisco Heritage. How high do you think the ceiling is for Latavius this summer with ABC Spotlight and a season with ABC Prep? Do you think Latavius? My son and I had this discussion the other night. We were in Flagstaff and we were driving back. We were talking about this. Do you think Latavius has the ability to play at the D1 level?
And I'll be completely brutally honest. I sent a text message to Tay and his dad today, and I said, you know what? I've sat in the seat of a Division I basketball coach, and Latavius can score like a Division I player. Latavius has the athleticism as a Division I player. I said, but let me ask you a question. Does he have the body as a Division I player? And at the end of the day, that's what he has to work on, because everywhere we go, it's not a question of how good he is. Because if Latavius was from New York, New Jersey, California, Texas, he would be a Division I player. But us being from New Mexico, we have hurdles that we have to jump through. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so when it comes to Latavius, him coming to ABC Prep, I can't call Latavius or his dad or say, hey, look, if you don't go play for Atrisco and you come to ABC Prep, I'm going to get you a Division I scholarship, because that's not true. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's so hard for a kid to go Division I these days that it's completely up to finding a school that actually wants that kid in a perfect fit and in a perfect scenario. Like, I'm lucky to have played 4 years for Lou Henson, me being 6'4", 165 pounds from the south side of Chicago at 17 years old. Today, that's impossible. You can't be 6'4", 165 and 17 years old and play Division I basketball, not unless you're related to LeBron James or you're either LeBron James. Like, you have to be at the highest level possible. I mean, nobody can be Bella Hines. Jalen Holland is rare. Kenyon Aguino is 6'7" and Gatorade Player of the Year back to back. Like, I mean, those are rare people that have a different edge on what we're trying to do. So it's the other kids like Latavius Morris, who has led our program for multiple years in scoring and has been a fantastic human being in a community that just does a lot for us, and that he needs to reap the benefits of the hard work that he's put in this community and in this gym. At the end of the day, like, he's more than good enough. But hopefully that a college basketball program can see the same thing, because I'm not a miracle worker. I can't promise somebody something that I can't deliver. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think, the competition, comment from Jimmy H, ABC Prep is awesome in building up our local athletes. Wanted to make sure that we read that. Coach, I fully understand where you're coming from. I get it. All you can do is put them in the best situation, competitive situation possible, and let everything, develop the players. You got a lot of great coaches over there. And, we'll talk about Coach Skarsgård here in a little bit. Anaya Ogman and him taking over the Academy girls program, which is huge. We'll talk about that later. They're products of the ABC Prep coaching staff over there. Coach Nunez, Wild Hair, it's your turn, man. Go ahead.
Appreciate it. Coach, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on. Wanted to ask you about Bella Hines and her recent commitment to ABC Prep for the prep season. I understand that it'll be the inaugural season for the ABC Prep women's team. So was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, you know what? Bella has been a part of ABC and what we're doing for years.
Right.
One thing that we have to understand is that she is definitely like different and special. She's definitely put a lot of work in with Jay Hill that shows up to the gym with her and late nights and early mornings and different things like that. But her high school, her teachings, her parents, a lot of people had a lot to do with where she is today that needs to get the credit for her success. Everything is always overlooked. Like right now, ABC Prep has nothing to do with her success or where she's going today. But what we have to do with is giving her another option of getting extra workouts, more weights, different things that can help her game to evolve to where the high major Division 1 is going to be like. But all we're doing is being a part of the journey. If you understand what I'm saying. Um, she's definitely special. We have a lot of other girls that are going to come here and be a part of that journey. It's the inaugural season. It's the first time that we're ever doing this, and to be able to open something like that with Bella Hines being the first signee and the first person to be able to be a part of that has been definitely. I would like to use a word like a whirlwind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've gotten more calls in the last 2 weeks about Bella coming to play for us and more games and opportunities for our girls in New Mexico. So whatever girls decide to come play with her, they're going to be going to Jamaica, Toronto, Las Vegas, Florida, all these different places to play against the highest level of competition there possible. And I mean, to play with someone like Bella and to be on that level to play with the competition, the being mic'd up, all the different things that's going to come along with that is going to definitely prepare them for the next level.
Coach, tell us a little bit about the prep season. A lot of our viewers may not be familiar with kind of how prep basketball works versus high school basketball. It's a different thing. So tell us a little bit about what the prep season will look like for this women's team playing in its first year. You mentioned that you guys are going to be going to Toronto, some fantastic places, but what's the schedule going to look like? And I think people will want to know, will they have the opportunity to see Bella play in Albuquerque here at ABC
Yeah.
Prep?
So the difference in prep and high school, the high school basketball, I mean, I think they generally start working out about November 19th, 20th. Their first home game or what have you is in late November, early December. By that time, we've already played 15 to 20 games. So we go full speed ahead late August. We training camp in September. Games start October 6th. We play in Phoenix. We play in Las Vegas. We play in all these different states, but we play against the best competition possible. One thing I do take pride in is uh, bringing all these different events and circuits to this state because I know when we go out of state, I know you have to pay for tournament entry fees, you have to pay for hotels, you have to pay for all these different things that affect the economic growth of that community. I want to bring the same thing here for our community. So while we're doing that, last year we were able to bring 4 Canadian teams. We brought teams from Las Vegas, Florida, Denver, from all over, and now we're going to be able to bring boys and girls here for our circuits. So now we're going to have the grind session coming here in January. We'll have the EIBC coming here in January. There's going to be a lot of different opportunities to be able to for people to be able to come see Bella or come see, whoever else in the boys basketball era that people are wanting to see. Of course, Bella's the biggest name, and that's who everybody's concerned about because she deserves the respect and she's put in the work that she's going to be a local legend here forever. Um, and some people have asked me, they said, well, why would you bring Bella to the prep season when she could have broke these different records and she could have done this and that? And my thing is that does the records help her to prepare her for LSU, or is it about Bella or is it about the records? You know what I'm saying? And I don't have those answers. Her parents and Bella have all those different answers of what the preparation and what the next level looks like for them. And at the end of the day, we're all just a part of that journey. and we have to be happy for whatever she decides, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right. Absolutely.
Definitely, Coach. So our guest is head coach and founder of ABC Prep, Brandon Mason. Coach, we really appreciate you being on. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back after these messages.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Can you guys hear me? I can't hear anybody.
I can hear you. I can hear you, Coach.
Okay. All right, cool.
Welcome back to A Road to the Pit. Our guest today is head coach and founder of ABC Prep, Brandon Mason. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with my co-host, Nick Nunez. Can't see Coach Mason. Can you hear us, Coach?
I can hear you.
Okay, there you are. Okay, there you are. Coach Nunez, you were right in the middle of a segment with Coach Mason asking him about. Go ahead and continue on that segment. You were asking Coach Mason some questions.
Yeah, no, Coach, I mean, pretty much covered it all as far as what Bella means to ABC, what she means to Albuquerque, and what the opportunities for her are going to be in this upcoming ABC Prep women's season. Coach, we wanted to ask you a little bit about ABC Spotlights, your summer program on the boys' side. I've been kind of tracking it a little bit on Twitter. Looks like you guys have had some tournaments this past month in May, quite a few. Dallas, Denver. Just kind of tell us how the team's been playing and who's been standing out.
I've been trying to make it through this segment though. Just I want to send some love out to Drew Gordon's family. It's probably not even released yet on social media. I don't even know, man. But
actually, it just was, Coach. We just saw that. So Coach Mason, if it's all up to you if you want to break that news. We just saw it. It's been released. So if you want to break that, that's up to you.
Yeah, I'm not about breaking news. I've done a lot in my life, but Drew's son does play for our program and with my son, and I just want to say I love him. And I've been dealing with that for a few hours in the last few segments, just in general. He's a fantastic human being. There's not a lot of Lobo legends, and then I have a picture behind me that shows that he's like, man, that's tough. Man, my phone hasn't stopped ringing since I've been sitting here. That's why, like, it's going back and forth through video and text message and phone calls. My phone hasn't stopped messaging right now. Sorry about that.
I'm just going to break that real quick, Coach, so everybody knows, because it's out on social media. Former Lobo Drew Gordon passing away in a car accident earlier today, and that's the news that you're talking about, and it's a huge loss to Lobo land. And you mentioned his son plays with you, so our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Drew Gordon, whose brother Aaron Gordon plays for the Denver Nuggets. So Coach, we appreciate you joining us through this very sad time. You mentioned that to me earlier, and Coach, all condolences out to you and the Gordon family and the ABC program. It's a tragic loss, and Drew Gordon, a heck of a Lobo here, played with Coach Alford and gone way too soon. So, Coach, our condolences out to your ABC Prep family.
Yeah, you know what? I can't take any condolences. At the end of the day, it's about his son, his family. One thing that we take pride in is having a lot of Lobos that work and confide here in this place of ABC basketball or ABC Prep. We have David Quixote, we have Chad Adams, we have Derice Gary, who's here 24/7. All these guys, Darren Prentice. Daniel Ferris was here today. We have nonstop Lobos that come in here and work with kids daily that matter, and it's crazy. I walked in here today and I just had to tell some of these guys because I have multiple group chats with Lobo basketball players, and I know that sounds weird because I'm an Aggie, but I had to text these dudes and tell them I love them today. Because you never know what's promised the next day, and we all take it for granted. We all take it for granted that we're gonna see tomorrow. And somebody like Drew Gordon, who's a spectacular human being, who loves his family, who loves his son, who has been doing the right things the right way, who's played professional basketball, who's taking care of his family, it's a lot. I just don't know. It's hard, but one thing I will say is that we will be here for his son and his family, Jaden Gordon. We will be a presence in his life and look out for him as long as he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know another purpose or anything that matters that we cannot look out for a young man in this community that his dad filled seats and took a team to play against Louisville and do different things that uplifted this entire community. You know what I'm saying? We take all that for granted, and now his son is in this community. What are we going to do about it? That's what really matters. It's hard. I'm sorry, I went on a rant. I apologize.
No, Coach, no apologies necessary, because you know what, you see and I'm glad you mentioned texting all your your Lobo and Aggie players and everybody that you're involved with, because you're right. Life isn't promised to everybody, and it's Drew Gordon gone way too soon. We have no idea when our day is coming, and you're right. We take things for granted. Well, we're always going to see everybody, and sometimes things like that happen, and it's a tragedy. And again, all our condolences out to Jaden Gordon and his family, and Aaron Gordon, his brother, with the Denver Nuggets. That's a tragic loss to Lobo land. Coach, are you okay continuing the segment? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just reading these text messages that are popping up.
Yeah, Coach. Again, all our condolences. Coach Nunez, you were talking to Coach Mason about Latavius Morris. You were in. I don't know if you want to continue with what you were talking about, the women's roster you were talking about.
No, I do. Coach, are you still with us? It looks like the screen may be frozen. I'm not sure if he can hear us or not.
Coach, are you there?
Yeah, I think it looks like his screen may have froze, but yeah, I just want to share what Coach Mason had said and the news that's already been broken. It's tragic to lose a member of this community like Drew Gordon. He was a fantastic player while he was here, and for him to be gone is tragic. So just condolences, as you said, Dad. The ABC Prep program, it's a community. Coach Mason was talking about how they're going to be there for Drew Gordon's son, and it's just a family that's going to look after each other. So looks like Coach Mason has disconnected. Coach, he mentioned he's not on with us right now. He was mentioning that he was reading some text messages, Coach, or Dad. So I'm not sure if we want to give him some time and see if we can get a hold of him. But you want to carry on the segment for a while?
Well, let's you know what. Let's read the news as it came out. Drew Gordon has passed away in a car accident at 33 years old. Gordon played 9 games for the 76ers in the 2014-15 season, played professionally in the U.S. and abroad since college ball. at New Mexico and UCLA. Remember, he transferred from UCLA. Drew is the older brother of Nuggets forward Aaron Gordon. Rest in peace. So that was the news that came. And, Coach Mason, to be honest with you, he wanted to come on. I had asked him, and he didn't want to say what it was that had happened. And, he might be a little bit shook up, and we understandably so, about that news, and I didn't know what it was, and he didn't want to say what it was. And I was hoping, Coach, that it wasn't a death. And I think, and it was, as it turned out, it was. And, having his son, Jaden Gordon, there, and that's tough, because you got to come in every day, and, you got to, it's tough. His dad is gone at 33, and you got to see Jaden Gordon every day, and his face, you don't expect that. You were born when I was 30, and only 3 years later, you've got, Drew Gordon passing away, and his son Jaden is just, is starting his life out. And, I'm sure Coach, Drew Gordon was looking forward to, all those things that won't happen now. So it's a tough loss to the Lobo community, and the community, like Coach Mason, I think, put it right, Coach, about what he did. He uplifted the community and what he did, and I think Coach Mason was absolutely right about that.
No, 100%. Drew Gordon was a human being. We got to see him a little bit when he played for the TBT. And so, we've seen him later on after his years as a Lobo, but just a tragic loss to the community. Once again, condolences. And, we should all as a community get behind the ABC program and support them further.
Now, Ryan, you were joined now by Ryan Tamori, and Ryan, you heard the news, and Coach Mason. I didn't know what it was, the news, and Coach, he may not even be able to come back on, understandably so. That's it's pretty hard to hear that, and then and unpack that whole thing, and then think about the impact it has on, that's what I would be thinking about, the impact on his son. I would look at his son like, oh my goodness, man. I know I would. So your thoughts, Ryan?
That's before you would come on, you had mentioned that, and I'm not trying to put Brandon Mason on the spot, and I jumped on with you guys just because he jumped off and there was some clear emotion there. That's not what I was expecting when we jumped on tonight. I'm laughing at like the fact is like, oh man, I'm really quite distraught by it. I'm somebody who lost my dad. This is not comparing apples to oranges. Ed, you're a dad. Nick, you're a dad. I'm a father. Burying your child. I buried my dad at 16 years old. He was 55. It was 20 years ago. I don't know. It's surreal. At somebody that's such a young age at 33, it's rough. You just had Ruben Douglas who passed. So it's a tough, well, I went the print journalism route. I'm not trying to make this about myself because it's kind of TV now. You just had Ruben Douglas who passed, and it's kind of a weird emotion in the, I guess, Lobo basketball community the last, month or two. So it's a sad thing. I feel for Drew Gordon's family. I was unaware until tonight that he had a son within the ABC Prep Academy. I think, maybe we might try to effort somebody next week that played with Drew and talk to him about his career. It's a totally devastating thing to hear tonight, in the aspect of what we are trying to do. It's lighthearted. We have broken news. We don't break news like this. It was just very odd and very weird and very untimely and a terrible thing. As far as from a basketball standpoint, remembering him, Ed, what sticks out in my mind is his performance in the round of 32 in 2012 against Louisville, a Louisville team that went to the Final Four, lost to eventual national champion Kentucky, John Calipari, Anthony Davis. Played a hell of a game. I was going to bring up his stats, but that's what I remember. He was we were talking about big men and Lobo legends, but guys that have altered the program. And, he's a name that we don't throw around that much. And maybe from just a sports lighthearted, probably standpoint, maybe a little disrespect on our end. because he was a very good player. I think I had the privilege of covering him one year, and he was this big guy that came here. I think he was a phenomenal player. I think his brother kind of overshadowed him with the dunking and going to UCLA. Obviously, up until about a week ago, was a defending NBA championship. So basketball lineage runs well in that family. I don't want to keep rambling. I didn't know Drew all that well. I didn't, Brandon knows him very well. All those guys over there know him very well from a spectator standpoint. And I know, I'm going to mention again, for those that are big Lobo fans, the diehardest of Lobo fans, between him and Ruben Douglas in the last, month and a half, it's very devastating news. And I'm just throwing this out there again from a basketball standpoint. I don't feel like we've given him enough credit on this show for the 1 or 2 years that he was here.
No, you're probably right. I would probably agree with that. He's overshadowed unfairly so by more high-profile teammates than Tony Snell, probably Hugh Greenwood, Cameron Bairstow, but he did his job. And you're right, and he did play very well here. I think another guy that's probably forgotten is Tim Thomas. What was his name? Tim Williams, was it?
Yes,
Tim Williams, Pancake.
Yeah,
right?
Tim Williams. So those are two guys, kind of forgotten guys. But Drew Gordon, he played at Arizona before he transferred here, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so he was at Arizona, and then his brother.
No, it was UCLA. He was at UCLA.
He's at UCLA.
Okay, so Drew was there, and then Aaron went to Arizona.
Yeah, he was at UCLA. Yeah, he went to Arizona.
So I think when things like that happen, a shout out to Coach Mason for even coming on. I didn't know what had happened, and I asked him, "Are you sure you want to come on?" And he said yes. So shout out for him giving us the time that he did about talking about ABC. We'll get him back on. He's understandably overwhelmed. He's getting all kinds of messages from players, and I think it all sinks in when Coach Mason is still a young man too. I'm an older guy, so when and my son is 32, just a year younger than Aaron Gordon, and so I think that just all of a sudden it hits you, and so I appreciate Coach Mason coming on to talk to us for the time that he did. But it's devastating news for sure. And Nick, did you have anything to add about that? I mean, that's just really sad stuff.
No. I mean, we touched on it. It's devastating. I have memories watching Drew Gordon play here in 2011, 2012 for the Lobos during the Alford tenure. Just a fantastic athlete, right? We remember him as our big man during that time, and was a fan favorite. I mean, those were kind of the glory days in the last 20 years for Lobo basketball. We got back to the Mountain West Conference Championship this year and won it. But yeah, fantastic player. And such a tragic loss for their family. It's just so sad, it really is. I share everything you guys said. You can't take life for granted. So yeah, once again, condolences to the Gordon family. I
want to read this text. This is from George Scott, a good friend of mine, and he was texting a couple of friends on our link. Former great Lobo great Drew Gordon, the brother of Nuggets forward Aaron Gordon, died in a car accident today in Portland, Oregon. That's all he knows for now. I'm in total shock and disbelief. This is what George is saying. He was only 33 years old and still playing professionally overseas. He was still playing, So
I know that he was in Ukraine, and so was not Sebastian Forsling. Furstinger, whose first name's escaping me right now.
Joe Furstinger. Joe.
Yeah, Joe Furstinger. That's it. So Shams Shanaria of what is it? FanDuel. I hope I pronounced this right. Last name. I always know him just as Shams. 8:37 p.m. tonight. Tweeted, quote, Drew Gordon has passed away in a car accident at 33 years old. Gordon played 9 games for the 76ers in 2014 and 15 season and has played professionally in the U.S. and abroad since college ball at New Mexico and UCLA. Drew is the older brother of Nuggets forward Aaron Gordon. Rest in peace. Drew Gordon's numbers here. He played in 26 games in 2010 and 2011, a team that went to the NIT and lost to Alabama in the second round.
I remember that.
Yeah, 13 points a game, 10 rebounds, and an assist. So basically assist. The 2011-2012 season, that team that got to the second round of the NCAA tournament, almost 14 points a game, over 11 rebounds a game, and 2 assists a game. And he transferred from UCLA. I was thinking of him and his brother. I forgot that Aaron went to Arizona. But there you go.
One
Again,
more little quick comment,
right
Ryan,
ahead.
and this is from George Scott too. Okay, so we forgot about another ex-Lobo, Andre McGee, Ruben Douglas, and Drew Gordon all died within a month of one another. And Andre McGee had died of a heart attack, and he was only 52. Ruben Douglas, I believe, was 44, and Drew Gordon was 33. So that's George, simply unbelievable. George said, and it is. It's unbelievable. Life is precious. That's not something. When Coach Mason mentioned super bad news, I was hoping it wasn't a death, and unfortunately it was. So Coach Mason understandably overcome with some grief, and we understand that, because I think when you see a young man that's in the program and you look at that and you're thinking about it and you're like, oh my gosh, man, you don't know what to say. But what he did say is that they'll be there for him, and they'll, as much as they can be. And male role models, as my son will tell you, he and Coach Damian Segura are really close. He's got me to look up to, and my son and I are real close. But he'll tell you, Coach Segura, who he played for at St. Pius and he coached with, that's somebody he looks up to. And there's all kinds of there's no sudden, Ryan, loss, man. You know loss. It's not easy, and it's not easy for a young Jaden Gordon. And I my heart goes out to him, and I'm glad Coach Mason has said that they'll be there to support him, and it's going to be those times are not easy, but he will have good support with ABC Prep. I'm glad Coach Mason was able to come on with us for a little bit.
No, we appreciate Brandon Mason. Again, I'm not going to put up a banner or bug anything. Drew Gordon, former UNM forward, dead at 33, passed away in a car accident earlier today. Shams Sharana, once again, I hope I pronounced his last name right. The dude on FanDuel that what's her name from it? Anyway, no, I'm not going to go there. Reporting that he had died in the car accident, and then Brandon Mason, you guys kind of talking about it on here. That was supposed to be more of an uplifting episode. As we know, we brought you 3 episodes this week from our network, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're just going to end on that note. Nick, Ed, I appreciate your guys' time. And we appreciate Brandon Mason from ABC Prep. We'll have to do that again. Maybe we'll bug Doris Gary. Maybe we'll bug David Coyote again. Who we should get on is Chris Perez. He would be.
He'd love to come on. Yeah, Chris would love to come on.
We would absolutely love to talk to him. Again, this was, and I'm stealing your guys' thunder. I jumped on because Brandon Mason had to jump off, obviously feeling it with the loss of Drew Gordon. He will. We will come to you next week, next Tuesday and Thursday. We'll have more content for you. I hate that word. We'll have more content for you in regards to Lobo Land. Hopefully you guys can get another show on. Maybe we get Bella Hines on next week. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We appreciate everybody watching. Again, we kind of apologize for kind of how that abruptly ended. It's not Brandon Mason's fault. I feel for him. So everybody, we appreciate you watching, and we'll come to you next week. Again, this was Road to the Pit. High school basketball journey. We'll come to you with another episode next week of the Pit Press Live every Tuesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Again, Ed and Nick Nunez. Hey, thank you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Ron.